get into a little tech news on Life in Tech. Kunbi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Steph, for having me.
I love it. So for anybody that is not familiar and you meet them for the first time, you're in the elevator pitch, what is that quick version of what UrbanGeekz is? And let us know what was the moment you decided to build this platform out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, my name's Kunbi Tinuoye, and I'm the founder and CEO of UrbanGeekz, which is an African American Latinx multicultural news platform focused on technology, business, science, and entrepreneurship. So, let's talk about why I actually launched this brand. So, we're going to rewind to 11 years ago, January 2015. So, prior to launching UrbanGeekz, I was a correspondent at the Griot. Which at the time was under the umbrella of NBC News. Had a phenomenal time there. But one of the things I noticed at the Griot is that we weren't writing many stories on tech and innovation. So I think that was the first point. We were writing about music, entertainment, race, lifestyle, but not tech and business, but not tech and innovation. So that was kind of like one of my sort of first reasons. My rationale about why I launched UrbanGeekz. Secondly, I did a little bit of a deep dive. And don't get, this is like 11 years ago, 2014, 2015. I did a bit of a deep dive. And from my research, I found that really there was a gap in the market. And so what I suppose my hypothesis or why I launched is, particularly at the time, we have African-American brands out there, some doing business quite well, but there were very few brands covering tech and innovation at a premium level.
Well, let's get into a few tech stories, shall we? I picked these right off your website. And this one I've been seeing now. I think I saw it on your website first, but, it's sort of blown up. I saw Bloomberg covering it. Byron Allen is buying BuzzFeed.
Yeah, he's really out there. I really admire him. Absolutely. So Meagle Mogul and Byron Allen has actually acquired a 52% stake in BuzzFeed. I think from my recollection for $120 million.
Yeah.
And so basically he's a new CEO, which is amazing. He's a new CEO of BuzzFeed. So he's been out there, I think, doing the media rounds, basically, telling people about why he's doing it and what it means for his business.
It's so funny. I am of a certain age when I remember Byron Allen used to co-host a show called Real People on television way back in the 80s. And, it was like America's Funniest Home Videos kind of style of show. And I would have never thought that this guy would end up being the mogul he is today. I don't think people really understand, how much this guy owns, what he has control over, and what he's done in the media space. So, what does this mean for the future of digital media? What does this acquisition mean, do you think?
Well, one, it means people like Byron Allen are killing it. I think that's the first thing. And the second thing, I think it really what we're kind of really seeing now is that, back in the day, at the days of the Root or when I was at the Griot, we were just really focused on writing great stories. That was really our focus. I think now, there's so much going on, changes in algorithms, AI, as you know, is really affecting media platforms. So really, companies really are really being very aggressive now on how they can actually make money, generating revenue. And obviously, I think some of the things that Byron is saying is that he really wants to diversify, the actual content there. He's talking about streaming and video first platform and also leveraging AI as well. So, we're really sort of seeing now that you have to basically do there's so many different spheres of content that platforms are actually doing now.
Right. And I read that he was planning to offer all this content for free.
Yeah, he said that.
Which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, he seems like, from some of what I've seen, he's mentioned YouTube a lot. He's like, we want to compete with YouTube. So yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Listen, well, I'm going to grab my popcorn and we're going to see what happens. All right. Story number 2, 6 Black and Latinx billionaires who made it in tech without Silicon Valley. Now that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it really is. And one of the things I have to say, even before I talk about the story, is that we love covering Black billionaires. And that's actually, and I really do, I'm obsessed with Black billionaires. And one of the reasons I am, or we are, is because one of the main reasons I launched UrbanGeekz is to inform, educate, and inspire. So
Yes.
UrbanGeekz, we've always wanted it to be a very aspirational brand. So we love covering our billionaires of color. So really for this story, one of our reporters just, it's a listicle. She basically did a listicle of 6 Black and brown billionaires who have made it, majority in tech, but not exclusively, without, going through the whole kind of traditional Silicon Valley route.
And so what do you think maybe a lesson other founders of color might be able to take from these billionaires' example?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me maybe highlight one or two of the founders. One of the founders in this listicle is someone I actually know, who, we used to work at the same co-working space, Tokwe. Awotona. I'm saying it the right way. He's the founder of Calendly.
Oh my gosh, I love Calendly. I have a Calendly subscription.
Yeah, so he's a founder of Calendly, and he basically built that brand from the ground up. We used to work in the same co-working space. Yeah, so
you knew him when?
Oh yeah, but I knew him, a couple of years ago, when he was not before he was when he was building. I knew him when he was building. We used to work in the same co-working space. We're both from Nigerian origin, so we used to our Yoruba jokes, and so he's a really cool guy. But what I love about what he done, and I would say this might be something for some other founders to think about, is that he basically focused on building a profitable business. That was his big thing, and he didn't take VC funding early.
Yeah.
So obviously when it comes up to tech startups, you always have these stories on TechCrunch. They're stories because they raise money. Just raised 5 million, 10 million. But Tope was very intentional. He really built the brand, made it profitable. Obviously, must have really done some great customer discovery. So basically, what he's done is, it's a bootstrap startup. Obviously, at some point he got the big VC dollars, but he got that later on. He got that later on. So because he didn't get diluted, he didn't dilute equity, he still has a majority stake. Which he's still the majority.
And that's the game, right? You hold off on the VC to keep your equity for as long as possible.
Yeah, and that is actually why he's a billionaire, because he still owns the majority, which is very unusual at that level. So that's one thing. You basically build for profit, not just to be in the latest headlines that you've raised.
Well, I think the Valley, that's the game for those folks out there. That's all they want to do is, get the biggest they want to be a unicorn, and it's like just a competition to build fast, break things, that whole thing. For us, I think it's a little bit different. I think we have different considerations as people of color. We're trying to build generational wealth, legacy, all of those different things, when they just are trying to grab the next 100 million that's going to go into the next company that they build. So really, really good advice.
Yeah, and he's building a company that is sustainable and that's profitable. As you say, not just raising money. Some of these companies raise a ton of money, and they're not always that successful. Yeah.
Well, and the crazy part is they still get more money even after the failure. Your burn rate is 100%. You burn through $100 million, and literally the next day somebody will give you more money, and we don't get that luxury and that consideration. So we have to be strategic with how we raise, how much of our companies we hold on to. That ownership is key. So kudos to him for following that path. Okay, our third story. So Yale. Okay, our third story. So Yale students, 2 Yale students secure $5.1 million for an AI-powered social network.
Yeah, I love this story, and I really love this story, and I've really been following their work. So basically, they have they've basically just got $5.1 million. And one of the things, and the other thing I should mention about that, is not just from anyone. They have got, real high profile. I think, Reddit, Vimeo, they've got high profile investors backing them.
Absolutely.
So, and the other thing about them is that, this company, I think it's like a year old. And, when they launched, officially in 2025, and within 14 days, they raised $3 million. So they're building fast.
And that's unheard of for founders of color, honestly.
Unheard of.
Absolutely unheard of.
Yeah, literally. So I'm so proud of them. Two young African American boys, I should say young men, and I'm so
Young
proud
men, yeah.
of young men. And they really, I really believe, one of the things they've done very strategically, they've built in public.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've basically got people to follow along with their journey and their product iteration. So they're built in public. But that being said, I think they actually have a phenomenal product. It's such an amazing product. And, there's a bit of analogies with Facebook, and, their sort of Ivy League and all that kind of stuff. But I think they're actually, and they've been really smart because obviously, their product, the foundation of their product is AI, which is a future.
Right.
Think about it. It's AI now. So no, I'm very impressed with what they're doing, and I'm really keeping an eye on where their company is going to go.
So what does this, raise say about the need to sort of be AI first as you're building your product for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what this is saying now is that AI needs to be a product, to be the product, to be foundational and embedded in tech startups, really, not just an add-on feature.
Right.
And so AI is, is hot. Everyone's talking about AI. You go to every tech conference and AI is like the main discussion, and investors are really looking for the next big AI hit. So, AI is where it's at. And the other thing I should mention is that we actually have just recently published a story. One of my reporters pulled together this story on Y Combinator, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is one of the biggest and most reputable accelerators worldwide. And they have just revealed 15 startup ideas they want founders to build in summer 2026, kind of giving founders tips on what they're looking for.
Okay.
And a lot of these concepts are around AI.
Yeah.
A lot of them. So it's really foundational now to a business. And not every business, but if a founder can come up with a really smart business idea that has AI embedded, that's a good idea.
And you want to, and I think when you're talking about startup, you want to have it sort of baked in at the beginning. You don't want to just shoehorn it into something you're already doing, because I think investors they can smell that too when it's just like, oh, we just put a thin veneer of AI on top of something that was already very traditional. But you want to be thinking AI first, have it sort of baked into what you're doing, and be able to show why it makes a difference in the business. I think too, people can't really explain what the value add is going to be sometimes because they're just hopping on this bandwagon. You actually need to be able to show how artificial intelligence is going to, scale and 10x what you're doing as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about maybe a preview or something. Anything you're working on that you're excited about?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is our flagship, I suppose our flagship editorial coverage. We're working now on our big listicle called the UrbanGeekz 50.
Okay.
So that's one of our big sort of flagship initiatives, and we kind of, I love to speak big, so what I'll say is our version of the Forbes 100.
Okay.
Basically, every year we publish this list, and we kind of work in collaboration with industry experts so we curate this list of 50 innovators across venture, technology, business, in various kind of verticals, and we have this great list that we publish towards the end of the year, but we're actively working on that now. So that's something I definitely want to mention. I should mention as well, we're still looking for partners. So if any of you are interested, feel free to reach out to me. And obviously I'd love to come back, or someone on my team come back when we actually publish the list. So that's long term and something. Another story and I'm really excited about this story. And I've been telling my team, what angles, what can we do? How can we do this? I'm sure you're aware, Aliko Dangote, the Nigerian. So as you know, we cover a lot of Nigerian content as well. He's basically, I think he's the richest man in the world. He's a billionaire, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
And so he's doing this historic Pan-African IPO. He has a Lagos-based refinery. And what's so interesting about this story and why there's been so much hype about it, he's offering to, 5 to 10% of the stake. He's actually allowing, people like me and you to actually invest in it. And he's also going to be showcasing this on African stock exchanges. It's a huge story, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm trying to get our team to be following
I'm
that.
gonna need some
Yep.
more information about
Oh,
that. Let me go get my coins together.
oh my God, it's
Seriously.
amazing, and it's so historical. So do bit extras, just it's just amazing. And so I've been following it, and I just want to make sure that we let our readers understand, what's happening, how it works, and how they can invest.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
what's the best way for people to follow Urban Geeks
Yeah.
and, stay up to date with all the news that you cover?
Yeah, absolutely. So best way to keep in contact with the work that we do is to go to the website.
Uh-huh.
It's Urban Geeks, and I always say with a Z. So
Mhm.
UrbanGeeks with a Z.com. Obviously go to a website. Definitely subscribe to our newsletter where you can get some more in-depth coverage and also other opportunities that we're doing as well. So subscribe to the newsletter. And obviously follow us on social. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on all the other social media channels.
Will do. Well, Kunbi Tinuoye, thank you so much. I was just at an event earlier today, and it was the idea. We talked about the idea of, you have to see it to believe it, to be able to achieve it type deal.
Yeah.
And, you putting our people out in front in this tech and innovation space is going to pay off in ways that you probably will never know, because there is some young person or a student or as someone watching and reading right now
Oh, yeah.
and being inspired by the work you're doing, that will become the next Calendly or the next Spill app or the next fan base or whatever that looks like. Somebody's watching the work you do, and because they can see themselves represented in the tech space, they will go on to achieve great things. So thank you so much for your work.
Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. Thank you.
And thank you for coming on Life and Tech with TechLifeSteph. We will definitely have you back. We do tech news, probably about once a month. So we'd love to have you back to talk about everything you're working on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Alrighty, take care. This is
White people go around, it seems to me, with a very carefully suppressed terror of black people. They don't know what the blackface hides.